China is famous for many things like DeepSeek, artificial nuclear reactors, the Forbidden City, and millennia of dynastic history. But hidden in the misty mountains of Sichuan lies something stranger, older, and infinitely scarier. A cache of mysterious relics has been found, pointing not just to an ancient culture, but to an entire advanced civilization that vanished without explanation. Empty, hollow eyes stare out from distorted bronze faces, their expressions warped into eerie, almost spectral contortions. Shimmering golden masks, carved with intricate symbols and uncanny details, hint at a culture more advanced than any known to have once thrived in this region. Yet the hands that forged these artifacts have long since faded into dust, leaving behind almost no trace of who they were. Throughout our history, most civilizations have either met a slow demise or were wiped out by natural disasters, but no one knows about this one. This is Sanxingdui, a once powerful Bronze Age city that disappeared over 3,000 years ago. It was discovered by accident in the late 1980s, and its main site revealed a flood of treasures that shook our understanding of Chinese history. The craftsmanship of its gold and bronze objects points to a people who had mastered metallurgy, spiritual symbolism, and artistic expression. But for every answer, Sanxingdui throws back more questions. Who were these creators? What force buried their entire civilization, and why did history forget them? Well, let's find out. A mysterious discovery. For nearly 3 millennia, the ancient city of Sanxingdui lay hidden, its story swallowed by time, its secrets buried deep beneath layers of earth and indifference. There was not a single record in surviving texts, no great monuments left above ground, just silence. Then, in 1927, fate intervened. A local farmer, dredging an irrigation ditch in Guanghan, Sichuan, stumbled upon something strange, a small trove of jade relics unlike anything he'd ever seen. He recognized their value, at least economically, but perhaps not the historical weight they carried. And so, quietly, the artifacts passed from his hands into the shadows of private collections. But word got out, and rumors, as they do, began to ripple across the whole region. By 1931, the site had drawn the attention of missionary Vivian Donor, local magistrate Zhang, and geology professor Daniel Shi Dai. The trio visited the spot where the jades were reportedly uncovered. Although they lacked the proper tools for excavation, they photographed what they could, retrieved a handful of artifacts, and sent them to West China Union University. That small act of preservation caught the eye of David Crockett Graham, the newly appointed director of the University Museum, who launched the first formal archaeological expedition to the area in 1934. Despite their best efforts, only fragmented pottery, scattered jade pieces, and stone remnants were recovered. The site, still unnamed and largely ignored, refused to give up its full story. Decades passed, excavations stalled, interest dimmed, and then came 1986. At a brickyard just a few kilometers away, laborers digging for clay broke into 2 mysterious rectangular pits. What they unearthed was beyond their imagination. They have hundreds of strange, elaborate relics. One pit, later named Sacrificial Pit 1, contained 420 artifacts, including intricately crafted seashells, shimmering gold scepters, and surreal bronze face masks with bulging eyes and haunting expressions. Just 20 meters away, they found a second pit that yielded even more artifacts, like elephant tusks, huge bronze objects, elaborate statues, and additional masks, over 1,500 items in total. Many of them showed signs of being ritually burned, snapped, or buried intentionally, suggesting something far more complex than accidental preservation. The findings were unlike anything seen in Chinese archaeology. These weren't simple grave goods or household objects. They were ceremonial, symbolic, and otherworldly. Some were enormous, like the bronze standing figure nearly 3 meters tall, with oversized hands and layered robes. Others were bizarre in detail, such as hybrid creatures, part tiger, part dragon, painted and soldered with surgical precision. Together they told the story of a civilization that had mastered metallurgy, ritual complexity, and artistic grandeur centuries before much of the world had caught up. With these revelations, Sanxingdui roared back into human memory. Now, archaeologists have also found other weird artifacts like the drop of stones and the Saqqara bird, which is basically an ancient Egyptian plane version, but this civilization's creations are just weird. The mysterious artifacts of Sanxingdui. As archaeologists have spent the past 4 decades carefully peeling back the earth around Sanxingdui, what they've uncovered is not just a city, it's a Bronze Age epic. A sprawling metropolis long forgotten that refuses to stop giving up its secrets. Artifact after artifact, layer after layer. The sheer scale and mystery of it continue to baffle even the most seasoned experts. At its height, the ancient city was fortified by towering walls, rising between 8 to 10 meters high and measuring an astonishing 20 meters thick. These massive barriers, laid out in a trapezoidal formation along the banks of the Shan River, enclosed an area of roughly 3.6 square kilometers, with each side stretching approximately 2,600 meters. An intricate network of canals about 20 to 25 meters wide and up to 3 meters deep interlaced the settlement. These weren't just for water or transport, they were part of a defensive system that made Sanxingdui nearly impenetrable. While Rome was still a patchwork of thatched huts by the Tiber, Sanxingdui was a walled, engineered stronghold. But the true marvels weren't its walls, they were what lay within. During excavations here, they have revealed a precisely organized city with clearly designated zones for residence, industry, and spiritual life. Everything was aligned along a central axis, showing an advanced level of urban planning. From 2020 to 22 alone, over 13,000 new artifacts were unearthed from the sacrificial pits, including bronze chests, jade containers, gemstone-adorned figurines, and items so strange they defy immediate explanation. These discoveries don't just suggest that Sanxingdui was wealthy, they confirm it was powerful. Let's say bronze dominated every aspect of life here. It wasn't just currency or utility, it was ideology, ritual, and architecture. From palace embellishments to personal homes, and especially in religious offerings, bronze was everywhere. The masks, iconic now, were crafted with bulging eyes and exaggerated features and alloyed with exacting skill. They weren't just fancy decoration stuff. They were part of mysterious ceremonies we still don't fully understand. One statue in particular remains mind-bending, a standing bronze figure, 2.6 meters tall, weighing nearly 200 kilograms, discovered in one of the pits. It wears 3 layers of ceremonial clothing, each etched with fine detail. This wasn't some discarded idol, it was deliberate, sacrificial, and expensive. A statement in metal. The amount of bronze used suggests a ruler or elite class willing to channel enormous resources into spiritual practice. Alongside these objects are clues of a rich society, evidence of advanced metallurgy, brewing systems for wine, and other industrial infrastructure. Even now, after so long, the city's layout reveals hints of centralized resource control, structures believed to be armories, granaries, or distribution hubs. And with every dig, it becomes clearer that Sanxingdui was no provincial outpost. It was a political and ceremonial powerhouse. As archaeologists continue their work, one fact becomes impossible to ignore. Bronze Age China, especially in Sichuan, was far wealthier, more organized, and more spiritually complex than anyone previously imagined. And Sanxingdui was at the center of it. A mysterious identity. Despite the staggering number of artifacts unearthed from the ruins of Sanxingdui, 2 major questions continue to haunt scholars who built this city and what force caused its complete disappearance from the historical record. The wealth of relics is undeniable, but none of them come with names, inscriptions, or even clear context. The absence of writing within the site poses one of the greatest challenges in identifying its creators. Either this civilization had no written language, or they used fragile materials like wood or silk that couldn't withstand time's decay. Whatever the case, the silence is deafening. Sanxingdui remains culturally disconnected from any known Chinese dynasty, kingdom, or tribe. This historical gap has drawn intense attention. Given the magnitude of the find and the sophistication of the artifacts, the Chinese government has taken a vested interest in the ongoing excavation and narrative framing of the site. In recent years, officials have promoted the theory that Sanxingdui was an early incarnation of the elusive Shu kingdom, a Bronze Age power mentioned in ancient Chinese texts but never fully understood. Much like Sanxingdui, the Shu kingdom is cloaked in mystery, with minimal historical records and few physical remnants, except perhaps for what lies in Sichuan soil. The most striking connection between the two was the bronze masks. Towering, exaggerated, and hauntingly stylized, these masks are unlike anything found elsewhere in China. With bulging eyes, intricate engravings, and surreal proportions, they match ancient depictions of Shu rulers, particularly the legendary Kan Kong, who was said to have large, prominent eyes and supernatural traits. These same features appear repeatedly in Sanxingdui's bronze artifacts, and geographically, Sanxingdui falls well within the territory that ancient chronicles attributed to Shu. Still, not everyone is convinced. Many outside historians and even some within China view this connection as speculative at best. They suggest the similarities between Sanxingdui and Shu artifacts may reflect broader regional religious iconography or shared spiritual motifs rather than a direct political link. The idea that Sanxingdui predates or evolved into the Shu kingdom is compelling, but remains unproven. Critics argue that drawing a straight line from Sanxingdui to the later Shu state risks blurring mythology with archaeology, especially without written proof. Yet, for others, the theory offers something profound, a way to root Sanxingdui within the larger sweep of Chinese civilization. Government-affiliated scholars claim that the site supports a 5,000-year continuous cultural lineage, positioning Sanxingdui not as an anomaly, but as a missing chapter in China's deep historical book. Whether myth or reality, Sanxingdui's identity remains one of the greatest enigmas in Eastern archaeology. For now, the masks stare back at us in silence, daring us to understand a people who left no name but shaped their legacy in gold, jade, and bronze. Well, as much as we know about the Olmec, which was one of the first Mesoamerican societies, we know nothing about Sanxingdui. There are possible theories that explain the disappearance of the Olmec. Like some historians say, around 400 BC, the eastern half of their lands was depopulated, possibly due to environmental changes. They may have also relocated after volcanic activity in the area. Another theory is that they were invaded, but no one knows who the invaders might be. But now, no one on this holy earth has any idea about this ancient Chinese civilization. What do you think about it? Who were they? Well, let us know. A mysterious end and alien theories. Well, now let's talk about the thing we're all waiting for. Do we actually know how Sanxingdui ended, or are we staring at one of the oldest cold cases in human history? The downfall of Sanxingdui remains just as baffling as its origins. Archaeological evidence points to a sudden and irreversible collapse around 1000 BCE. The city wasn't conquered slowly or rebuilt in layers. It was simply left, abandoned, deserted. But why? Well, one prominent theory suggests that a massive earthquake in the nearby Z Kingdom in 1099 BCE set off a chain reaction, violently shifting the course of the Jian River. That shift may have triggered devastating floods, or perhaps dried up the lifeline that once nourished the city. Either way, a sudden environmental catastrophe could have made Sanxingdui uninhabitable almost overnight. Other hypotheses, like an invasion by rival tribes or civil unrest, have been floated, but there's little to no physical evidence to support them. No signs of battle, no mass graves, just silence. Then there's the theory that gets the most side eyes in academic circles, the alien one. Fringe theorists, dismissed by most archaeologists, claim that the surreal, exaggerated designs found in Sanxingdui's bronze masks and statues are not symbolic, they're literal. To them, those bulging eyes, elongated features, and unnerving expressions are depictions of otherworldly visitors. According to this line of thinking, the advanced metallurgy, the sudden cultural explosion, and even the abrupt disappearance could be explained by one thing: the arrival and later departure of extraterrestrial beings. When the visitors left, so did the knowledge, and the civilization collapsed. Is that possible? Well, maybe. Is it probable? I mean, Not even close. Still, the mystery itself opens the door to wild speculation, because when a civilization this advanced leaves behind no writing, no nearby counterparts, and no clear endgame, it's easy to see why the gaps get filled with myth. And yet, the true power of Sanxingdui doesn't come from alien theories or lost magic. It comes from what it forces us to confront how little we really know. Beneath the earth, beneath our written history, lie the ruins of cultures we still can't name. The excavation of Sanxingdui reminds us that we've barely scratched the surface of human history. We don't know who its people were. We don't know the full extent of their beliefs. We don't even know what finally drove them into extinction. But we do know this. 3,000 years ago, on the banks of the Sha River, stood a Bronze Age city with access to wealth, artistry, and knowledge we didn't think possible for its time. And it is just amazingly brain-blogging. The Khmer Empire. Sanxingdui reminds us how a mighty civilization can vanish without warning, leaving behind only masks and mystery. But what about empires that did leave records, cities, and monumental temples, only to crumble anyway? This is the Khmer Empire. Rising from the kingdom of Chenla around the 9th century AD in what is now Cambodia, the Khmer Empire became one of the most dominant powers in Southeast Asia. It's most famously known as the civilization that built Angkor, the sprawling capital that once rivaled the greatest cities on Earth. With a culture rooted in Hinduism, Mahayana Buddhism, and eventually Theravada Buddhism, the Khmer embraced religion, architecture, and military might all at once. They fought wars with the enemies, clashed with the Chams, and ruled over an empire fed by canals, reservoirs, and rice fields. But empires, no matter how grand, don't last forever. The Khmer decline wasn't caused by a single event. It was a slow erosion. As Theravada Buddhism gained influence, it challenged the existing Deva Raja system, the belief that the king was a living god. And once that divine authority faded, so did the motivation to work, fight, or even farm for the state. Food production dropped. Power fragmented. During the reign of Jayavarman VII, an expansive road network was constructed to transport goods and troops across the empire. But these very roads may have become its undoing. Scholars suggest that they provided direct access for the Tai people, an ethnic group originally from southern China who had been pushed south over centuries due to Mongol expansion. These Tai groups eventually formed the Sukhothai kingdom, declared independence from Khmer control, and were later forced to shift their capital to Ayodhya, Ayutthaya, after invasions by the Mon and Burmese. The Khmer, now weakened from within, couldn't hold the center. And so, like Sanxingdui before it, the Khmer Empire began to fade. But unlike Sanxingdui, the Khmer left temples, inscriptions, and clues. We know the names of their kings. We walk through their cities. But the why of their downfall, just like Sanxingdui, still leaves us guessing. We really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.